You're listening to WTIM, your information station. It's time now for your expanded local news. Illinois' $55.2 billion budget for fiscal year 2026 will officially take effect. That's after Governor J.B. Pritzker signed it into law on Monday morning. The budget features significant investments in not only education, but also healthcare, and comes with around $700 million in new taxes. State lawmakers are now reacting to the signing, doing so in support or opposition, largely along party lines. State Senator L.G. Sims Jr., a Democrat out of Chicago, who serves as a Majority Caucus appropriations leader, praised the budget, saying its investments in the whole person and will help people and businesses prosper. Likewise, State Representative Reagan Deering, a Republican out of Decatur, calls the signing shameful and criticizes the governor for, in her view, not following through on his word to balance increased spending with equal cuts. Governor Pritzker remarked in his State of the State address in February that if the General Assembly called for increased spending, he would ask where to make cuts. Data from Illinois Policy shows this budget is up 40% from what Pritzker inherited when taking office. The budget, the full text of which can be found at budget.illinois.gov, passed out of the General Assembly just 2 weeks ago. The Taylorville Police Department is highlighting its work with the town's Safe Passage program. Nearing 6 years of operation, Safe Passage helps those with an addiction to drugs or alcohol find treatment as opposed to facing incarceration. This comes as the department also continues to address the issue of mental health locally. Police Chief Dwayne Wheeler says Safe Passage continues to grow. Meanwhile, the program and the police department are mourning the sudden loss of a Safe Passage driver.
Yeah, we're doing really well with Safe Passage. It's just growing and growing. Lately we've seen a lot of people coming in. We know it's summertime. There's still people struggling, but they're walking through the doors. We are finding treatment centers for them, and also looking at another big grant coming through. Once we get that, we'll have even more. But we're looking at different treatment centers that we could probably go to to help with the program. But yeah, work is never an issue with Denise and Debbie. I do want to give my condolences out to Denise. Her partner passed away, Dale, who was really huge in our Safe Passage family. He was one of our drivers, and he's driven several people to treatment.
Recovery programs take place at Davis Memorial Christian Church, and a new stop might also be added. First Presbyterian Church has considered adding additional space. With the increased demand, it has led to that need for that additional real estate.
Yes, with so many people in recovery, we have a church, First Presbyterian Church helps us with these NA and AA programs, and now we got the Baptist Church that opened their doors up for the same thing. So now we've grown so much that we've grown like too big for one church, and we need another church. And we spoke to the pastors there, and they were just they opened their arms up to us. They love the program, and now we have them 1 day a week there so far, and then I'm sure it's going to be 2 or 3 and 4 days. And we're going to try to have it 7 days, and for a place to go to and a little different scenery.
Mental health is a major factor as well when dealing with drug addiction. When selecting treatment centers for use by the program, their ability to dual diagnose can make the difference in recovery efforts.
We have dozens that we use, but the key is, once again, it's mental health. We're trying to get these treatment centers that do dual diagnosis, because we all know that the people that are struggling with any type of substance abuse, there's always an underlying condition that caused it. And if we could help with an underlying condition, which could be, a sexual assault when they grew up, or maybe their parents were active, users, or they were always abused. There's all types of reasons why they're using today, and when they go to these dual treatment centers, they're able to get that fixed first. Okay. And then our success rate we've seen, once they get that underlying problem fixed, they usually, our success rate goes up where they don't have to go back to treatment again.
Speaking of mental health, Chief Wheeler says these calls are once again on the rise. He calls for more resources and more treatment facilities for these varying instances.
Well, our mental health calls are just increasing again. We were up 75% last year. This year, I mean, I haven't done the numbers yet. That was one of my things to do today, is to see where we're at. But it's just, it's sad. It's just sad because we could take them to the hospital, but the hospital can only do so much for them. And I'm not blaming the hospital for, just keep them, medicate them, but where do they take them to? That's the issue. They can't hold them. And then if they take them to a larger hospital, they can't hold them. Something's got to break. We need mental health facilities. We need more resources here in Christian County because someone's going to get hurt.
More information on the Taylorville Police Department and Safe Passage program is available at taylorville.net/police department, and you can visit them at their Facebook pages. Taylorville Police Chief Dwayne Wheeler appeared as a guest on the WTIM Morning Show. This will conclude the first portion of your expanded local news here in the 7 o'clock hour. It's brought to you by Taylorville Community Credit Union.
Hi, this is Will Perkins with Taylorville Community Credit Union. When you become a member of TCCU, you become an owner and have access to our great loan rates, earn great dividends on our deposit accounts, have access to our full range of financial products, and will receive personal attention from people you know. Membership is open to anyone who lives or works in Christian, Montgomery, and Shelby County. We are conveniently located in Taylorville, Hillsboro, Litchfield, and Pana. You can also visit us online at www.tccu.org. Come join us. You'll wonder why you waited. Member NCUA.
Now, with summer vacation fully underway, the Shelbyville Public Library is looking to help keep the family busy with fun events. An exotic petting zoo is coming to town with bubble stations and their weekly story time every Monday. It makes learning feel fresh and unique for kids. And for the parents, a true crime night and crochet club highlight the many events planned. Monica Cameron is the director of the Shelbyville Public Library, and she dives into what's in store for area families. Cameron explains that due to their weekly story time's popularity, the library now has multiple sessions you can register for.
What we have going on Mondays is story hour for kids. We have so many signed up that we have two. I think we only have one spot left on one of them, but we can start a wait list. If we get enough people, we'll have a third story hour. That one does require registration because my staff gets a certain number of craft kits ready for the kids who attend. If you are interested, please call the library at 217-774-4432 and ask for Dawn. On Wednesdays, that's usually when we have performances or larger events. We just had a yard games past Wednesday for the very first time. It was so much fun. Kids were outside playing soccer, kickball. We had a bounce house. We had an obstacle course. We had chalk. We had so many things that they could do outside.
When it comes to special events, Cameron shares one of their biggest of the year. On June 25th, Wild Times Exotics and their collection of animals will visit Shelbyville Public Library.
The following Wednesday on the 25th, we'll be at the library. We've got Wild Times Exotics. They're going to be bringing some animals that kids can and families can have an encounter with. She just picks whichever ones haven't been used already that week, or maybe have had a little bit of a break. So we're not exactly sure which one she'll bring, but the possibilities are a blue-tongued skink, a skunk, a little pig. She's got a kinkajou. She has a fennec fox. So she has even more. She's got a tarantula. She's got a gecko. We're not sure which one she'll bring, but bring the kids, because we have found kids' number one favorite thing of all time, other than bubbles, is animals.
No kidding.
So come have an encounter with these critters.
Where else but Shelbyville Library? Go ahead, please.
Right?
The library recently brought back bubble stations after a great turnout that they had had previously.
Next Wednesday, we have bubble stations, which is going to take place at the mini park on Main Street, on the corner of Main and Broad.
Yeah.
We have a company who has their own secret bubble solution formula, and they bring so many different sizes and types of wands down, some that just look like little jump ropes. And they have kids blow different sizes of bubbles. And it's really neat to see those when the wind blows go across the Main Street, and these cars are coming in, like, where are these bubbles coming from?
So far, no wrecks.
Yeah, so far no wrecks. But also the fun thing is this is for the whole family. This isn't just for little kids. They'll have little stations there, I think 10 little tables, and you can get, quite a few people, 5 or 7 around a little table. And then, again, all these different types and styles of wands.
Events geared towards adults are often held on Thursdays. Cameron discusses what to expect from their True Crime Night, as well as their crochet club.
But we're going to have our second crochet night on Thursday the 19th. This one you don't have to register for. We don't care what level you are. If you want to just come in and get some ideas, we can give ideas. If you need some help with how to hold your hook, or maybe tension, or maybe even learning a new crochet stitch, we will have some people there that can help you with that. If you just want to crochet with other people, just for, feeling like part of the community, come on in and maybe make a crochet connection that way. That will be Thursday, June 19th, and that's going to be from 5:30 to 7 p.m. And again, no registration required. Just come on in. We do have a True Crime Night coming up on Thursday the 26th. That is the following Thursday after crochet. That will also be 5:30 to 7. And normally what happens is I'll talk about a case, and then I'm that research nerd, so I like to go in a little bit of a deep dive. So last time we talked about cadaver dogs.
Wow.
The cases that I brought in each had a cadaver dog. We talked about how they're trained, what types there are, what they're actually sniffing for, 2 chemicals, cadaverine and putrescine. I love doing that research part and bringing it in some kind of way to our group that makes it a little lighthearted.
Find out more on the Shelbyville Public Library at shelbyvillelibrary.org. Monica Cameron appeared as a guest on the WTIM Morning Show. The Dudley Smith Farm Field Day proved important for local farmers, gaining valuable insight into new technologies and information to take back to the field. The University of Illinois Extension and the College of ACES continues to provide resources to improve sustainability and yields in Central Illinois. Giovanni Prezafontes is an assistant professor of agronomy and crop sciences with the University of Illinois and starts by talking about his background before being a part of the team.
I'm a kind of a new assistant professor of agronomy with the Department of Crop Sciences in the College of ACES. So I have been in this position for about 2.5 years now. I actually hold a 3-way appointment on the land grant system, university system, which means that I get to do all the 3 jobs. So in addition to teaching, I also serve as the extension agronomist for the state. And with that, do a lot of applied research that kind of goes and feed my extension program. So a lot of my research is focused on kind of a sustainable cropping system approach, where we're looking at different conservation practices. How do we manage nitrogen fertilizer more efficiently, and kind of looking a little on those regenerative and conservation practices. Mostly a lot of projects working with cover crops. Again, looking at the agronomic part, but also looking at the environmental component, basically looking at how cover crops can be implemented in conventional 2-year corn soybean rotation here in Illinois, and looking at their environmental benefits, right?
Prezafontes' focus for his research project is cover crop management, and then going beyond the traditional cereal rye that is commonly used.
When we think about cover crops, I think the first cover crop that comes to mind for a lot of people is cereal rye. And I think the several reasons for that. One, it's because it's the most common cover crop used here in Illinois and across much of the upper Midwest. There's been a lot of research done on cover crop, cereal rye cover crop, especially here at the Dudley Smith farm. Right. So despite of much of the good work and all the efforts in promoting cover crops, we recognize that there are more species out there that we don't know very much about it. So this is part of the research that we started here at the farm last year. This is a 3-year project funded by the Illinois NRAC, which is the Nutrient Research and Education Council. And that was partially funded by the Dudley Smith Initiative through the Office of Research in the College of ACES. And basically, we're kind of going beyond cereal rye and kind of exploring and trying to look at different cover crop species that will fit into our conventional corn-soybean rotation.
Many different cover crops exist, and Prezafontes is looking at preliminary data to conclude what is best for farmers locally.
We are testing we're testing 3 different cover crop species here with this project. I mean, we're keeping cereal rye because it's a standard cover crop, so it's also a good comparison in terms of cover crop because again we know a lot about cereal rye. And then we decided to look at other cover crop species like winter legume cover crops. Historically we've been growing historically legume cover crops we call green mulch. Back in the day was mostly used for supplying nitrogen. We think about legumes, we think about nitrogen credit. And we also wanted to look at, there has been a lot of the industry has been selling, when you think about cover crops, there's a lot of mixes out there, which is good because you can kind of have, different benefits from different species. So what we have here is a comparison between cereal rye, we have a red clover, and then we have a mixture that comprises of hairy vetch and radish.
What has the research found so far? Well, Prezafontes says that the cereal rye may still be the best option to minimize nitrogen losses.
When you compare the cover crops, the cereal rye has the greatest potential for nitrogen reduction.
Okay.
And last year was a little drier than normal and a little warmer than normal. But at the end of the year, we found about a 90% reduction when we had the cereal rye in terms of reducing nitrogen losses compared to the red clover that had 13%. And when we look at the hairy vetch and the radish mix, we found about a 39% reduction in nitrate losses.
Learn more about the research projects and the Dudley Smith Farm by visiting dsi.aces.illinois.edu. Giovanni Prezafontes appeared as a guest on the WTIM Morning Show as part of our coverage from the Dudley Smith Farm Field Day. This will conclude the second portion of your expanded local news, and it's brought to you by CNB Bank and Trust.
In Taylorville, we know the value of getting more for your money, and at CNB Bank and Trust, our premium checking account delivers just that. Earn interest on your balance and unlock buzzing perks like local discounts, roadside assistance, and cell phone protection just for banking where you live. Stop by our Taylorville branch today and experience banking with extra benefits. CNB Bank and Trust, helping to open doors since 1854. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Moving now to obituaries, which can be found at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com and are brought to you by Sutton Memorial Home.
This is Chad Sparks. When you lose a loved one, your choice for making final arrangements should be with the compassionate family at Sutton Memorial Homes. They know the death of a loved one is difficult. Austin and Evan at Sutton's and the entire staff have devoted themselves to loving and caring for those in their community in their time of need. You can trust Sutton Memorial Homes to assist your family in making final arrangements that will be a tribute to your loved one. Sutton Memorial Homes, caring is what they do best.
As of today, we have no obituaries to report. Find later listings. That will be at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com. A look at the weather for the weekend as we expect some increasingly warm temperatures. A heat advisory is already in effect. That went into effect this morning, June 20th, and will run until June 24th at 7 p.m. Expect today to be a high of 86 and mostly sunny, a low of 74 tonight. As for Saturday, though, that's when it starts to climb and really feel like summer, a high of 93. Heat index values as high as 105 degrees, gusts as high as 24 miles per hour. Saturday night will be clear, a low of around 75. Sunday, again sunny, a high of 92, gusts as high as 18 miles per hour, and it keeps clear as we make our way into Sunday night. And on Monday, another 93-degree high, south to southwest winds 6 to 8 miles per hour. Get local news anytime at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com or on WTIM, your only local news radio.
This is Blaine Cornwell with Prairie State Insurance. Running a commercial business today can be extremely complex with supply chain uncertainties, rising variable costs, and labor shortages. Let us simplify your insurance decisions. With Auto Owners Insurance, they have several commercial